Week 3 is here, so let's break down my favorite bets and locks of the week. The best pick against the spread, in my opinion, for Week 3, I'm going to go with the Chiefs minus 5.5 against the Giants. I'm surprised that's under a touchdown. I know the Chiefs are 0-2. They played the Chargers and Eagles, two good teams, but more importantly, two really solid defenses. The Giants, on the other hand, let the Cowboys do whatever they wanted last week, ultimately to allow the Cowboys to win the football game. So I think the Chiefs offense gets going, Mahomes gets going, the weapons get going. Both running backs, Pacheco and Hunt, could have a solid day. The Giants offense played as well as it possibly can play last week against a bad Cowboys defense, and they still lost the game. The Chiefs defense, a little bit tougher to deal with, so well coached. So I like the Chiefs much, much better on both sides of the ball here. And, you know, they're 0-2. They're trying to click into gear, and they do that in this game and win by more than a touchdown, and they're favored by less than a touchdown. Leaning with the Bucs minus 6.5, that would probably be up there as a lock with the Chiefs if it wasn't for the injuries they have suffered, multiple across the offensive line and Kalijah Kancey on the defensive line. But I still really like the Bucs because I love the matchup against the Jets. The Jets, the only thing they have going for them right now, if they're not down big, is they probably could run the football pretty well. But first off, they can't get down big, which is possible against the Buccaneers. But if they stay in the game for a little bit, run game typically doesn't work against Tampa's run defense. It's one of the very best, one of the elites of football. So and maybe Tyrod gives them a spark. Maybe the Bucs injuries play a factor. I still love the matchup for Tampa. The offense, Baker, the weapons, both running backs, all the receivers. The Jets defense is struggling. Tampa should have success on both sides of the ball in this one, so I do like them to win by more than a touchdown. Straight up locks of week 3, 6-0 on these on the year. We had 3 last week, 3 the week before. Getting a little crazy maybe with the 5 this week, but feel pretty good about them. The Buffalo Bills against Miami tonight, Thursday Night Football. The Bills consistently beat the Dolphins, and now the Dolphins are playing as bad as I've seen them play healthy in a long time, so it'd be a massive shocker. The Packers look like the best team in football. The Browns look like the worst team in football. I do think there's a scenario where the Browns defense can keep this semi-close, but Packers are too good. Their defense is too good. The Browns offense isn't going to do enough, even if the defense plays well. We talked about the Bucs and Jets. Yes, the Bucs are a little beat up, but the matchup really favors them on both sides of the ball. The much better team. They're at home wearing those throwbacks. The Chiefs broke that down as well. They're not going to drop to 0-3. The matchup favors them. It's time for their offense to get going. Their defense will play well in this game. And if there was one I was thinking about leaving out of all 5 of these, it'd be the Falcons, just because they're at a division rival in Carolina. But the Falcons' defense is balling right now. Bijan's balling. The Panthers struggle to stop the run. The Falcons could win with just running Bijan Robinson. I think their passing game will get going. And again, the Panthers are really struggling. On top of that, 2 offensive linemen out of this game. The Falcons' defense is going to give them problems. I just don't see how the Falcons lose this game. Consider the Seahawks over the Saints here. I just don't know how good the Seahawks are yet. I know the Saints aren't too great, but I could somehow surprisingly see that one being a little sneaky. Not that I picked the Saints or anything. I picked the Seattle Seahawks, but these are the 5 that I'd pick as locks in week 3. Don't forget to subscribe, turn notifications on, and be much, much appreciated. Full NFL coverage. We got a bunch of week 3 videos already on the channel. My favorite over-under picks of the week. I think the Bengals-Vikings under 42.5. Given the circumstances, is definitely worth a shot because they got 2 backup quarterbacks in there. One of them, Carson Wentz, has only been in Minnesota for a couple weeks. You got 2 defenses that'll take advantage of that. They'll both blitz a lot. They already do blitz a lot. Vikings defense is really solid too. So the only way this goes over is if the defenses score quite a bit, which I suppose is possible. They really have to contribute though to those points. And if Carson Wentz just completely lights it up and Kevin O'Connell gets him back on track, which I suppose is possible, but given the circumstances, this should stay under 42.5. There's a shot that one or both these teams score very, very limited amount of points, similar to what the Vikings did last week. I think one of those teams could kind of be like that this week. Chiefs-Giants under 45.5. Now, I do think there's a scenario where the Chiefs score a lot. I just don't think the Giants contribute enough here. And how much are the Chiefs going to score with their offensive struggles right now? I think they can figure it out, but they're not going to go out there and score way over 30 points. And they'll control the clock. I don't think the Giants will be able to do enough offensively against this Chiefs defense. A totally different matchup from the Cowboys game last week. I think this is only at 45.5 because of the amount of points the Giants scored last week, but it's a totally different game. And then Cowboys-Bears, I think that goes over 50.5 because the Cowboys are a very good offense right now going against a Bears defense that is really, really struggling and it's beat up. And then the other side, yeah, the Bears offense is explosive early in the game, then it shuts down, but the Cowboys defense is really, really struggling. Matt Eberflus, defensive coordinator. Bears players probably want to get revenge maybe on him. Maybe he wants to get revenge on the Bears. Should be a fun one, but I'd imagine this goes over 50.5. I was going to have the Lions-Ravens over, but it is really bumped up to 53.5. There's a scenario where there is a lot of running clock in that one, but some interesting total picks this week. Not really calling any of them locks, but they make a lot of sense. A couple parlay options. If you want more parlays, more bets, subscribe on our Twitter or our Patreon. Link pinned in the comments and description for those. Just a 2-game parlay for $278. Yes, there's some risk because those are 2 games that could be 50-50 games, but I'll take the Steelers. I have a hard time believing this is their defense. I think it's much better. They'll give the Patriots a little bit more of a challenge, and I think Rodgers and that offense will do enough against a struggling Patriots defense. And the Texans are actually underdogs, and of course the Jags at home with the Heat, they could win that game, but over the years, the Texans, C.J. Stroud, they've had some success against the Jags. The Texans had tough tests with the Bucs and the Rams. It's a little bit easier in this, so we get kind of get an idea of how these teams actually are. The Jags have had easier opportunities, and they're 1-1. And the best thing by far in this game between both teams is the Texans' defense, and I think that'll show in this game. So I like those 2 teams. They're both games are going to be close, so it might be a little scary, but we'll see. I think it's worth a shot. And then a 4-game parlay, a lot of alternate lines here. It was hard to get the odds with all my straight-up locks. You just get terrible odds. So went the Packers, dropped that down to 2.5. I mean, worst case, they win by a field goal, I would think. The Bucs, same thing. The Falcons, same thing. Let's on all those heavy favorites, we'll go -2.5. And then we'll throw the Cowboys in there plus 3.5. They were underdogs that flipped to them being favorites. Otherwise, I probably would have liked their normal line as an underdog as one of my picks against the spread. But Cowboys plus 3.5. That game should stay close, kind of back and forth. I feel like it's going to come down to who makes the field goal at the end, or the hits or misses throughout both teams throughout the game. And I'm going to trust Aubrey and the Cowboys in that one. So those 4 paired together plus 290. There's a lot of different scenarios you can go with here to build a parlay. I was thinking the Chargers on an alternate line, but McConkey dealing with an injury right now. I mean, you can throw several different. You can go Steelers and Texans alternate line, both around plus 3.5 to play it very safe. So a lot of different options here. We're always tweeting out more on our X and Patreon. The best anytime touchdown picks of the week. We killed it last week. There's a lot to like this week. Bijan going against the Panthers. The Panthers struggle against running backs. Running backs been scoring on them. Bijan is going to get in that end zone. CeeDee Lamb, the best option, the passing game for the Dallas Cowboys. The Bears defense looks brutal. They're also beat up in the secondary. They also let one of the great slot receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, torch them last week. So I think Lamb could do the same thing. James Cook tonight, Thursday Night Football, scored quite a few times against the Dolphins last year. They're going to run the football. They're going to get a lead. They're going to run the football even more. He'll have his opportunities. Saquon scored against the Rams multiple times in both games against the Rams. They struggle to stop the run. They're a little banged up. Barkley should find the end zone, whether it's ripping off a long run or close, in the red zone. You don't want to get too close, though, because then Hurts will score from the half-yard line, the 1-yard line, the 2-yard line, which is certainly possible as well. I think I see both guys scoring. And then Jonathan Taylor, believe it or not, does not have a rushing touchdown. He does have a receiving touchdown, but going against the Titans, a team that he scored multiple times in a single game against last year, and the Colts are just running the ball so well, and it seems like you can run the ball, especially around the end zone, around the goal line against the Titans. So a lot of running backs to like this week, and CeeDee Lamb. Some plus options. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt has got bumped up to plus 100. He's the lead back. He's a home run hitting type of guy. I could see him getting in. They might even rely on him with Jaden Daniels' injury. Kenneth Walker, plus 105, got going last week, plays the Saints run defense. They're allowing a bit and touchdowns to running backs. Charbonnet dealing with a little bit of an injury as well. That helps Walker. DJ Moore, a sneaky one. I know Odunze seems to be the best receiver on the Bears right now, but Moore, I could see getting action anywhere on the field, downfield, underneath, even handing the ball to him, and they're going against a very weak Cowboys defense. I could see him scoring. That's a pretty damn good one at that plus 190. And even deeper, bigger of odds, plus 290. Jawan Johnson looks like one of the better tight ends in football right now. Why? Because Spencer Rattler likes him. He targets him a lot. And the Seahawks, really good defense. There's one thing they're not doing super well on defense right now, and that's covering tight ends. So that's an interesting one at plus 290. Just throw $1 on it. Throw a couple bucks on it. Why not? So another week, a lot of touchdown picks to really like. Not the best week for college football locks because there's none screaming in our faces that this is 100% throw a lot of money on it. It's going to hit, but there are some to like here. And one that has stood out when I took an early look last weekend and still is standing out is Michigan -1.5 at Nebraska. It's a game that could go either way. I see a lot of people saying not only bet Nebraska to cover, but to win the game, so it makes it a little scary, but this is one that just stood out to me right away. I like Michigan this game. I like the way they match up. Don Martindale is going to blitz Dylan Raiola a bit. Raiola's a good quarterback, much improved, but when he's under pressure, he makes some interesting decisions. He'll hold the ball a little too long, so I think Michigan's defense, their pass rush, will cause some problems. Nebraska also hasn't really been tested enough yet. They played some easier opponents after Cincinnati. I don't even think Cincinnati's the best opponent in the world. Michigan, for their sake in this bet, I'm glad they played Oklahoma, even though they got beat up in that game. Maybe it was a little closer and the score showed. Because they've been tested a little bit here. Underwood getting better and better. They aired it out last week, so they improved there. Then they'll run a bit more this week and kind of keep Nebraska guessing. I think that's what last week did against, I know it was Central Michigan, but it puts some other things out on film where Nebraska's like, we got to worry about this. We got to worry about that now. So I'll take Michigan. If they got to win this game, obviously it's got to be more than one. I'll take my chances on that one. There's a few other ones that I'm kind of in the same boat where it's not like screaming for sure. Like, it's not my favorite lock of all time, but it's in the same boat where I think it should hit. We'll have those posted for our X and Patreon subscribers. Link pinned in the comments description for all that. So there you have it for the Week 3 NFL locks and the bonus college football lock. As always, bunch of different picks videos on the channel for Week 3. Check it out. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on me. Much, much appreciated. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.